Today I want to talk about tuba, and I mean tuba, not tuba. There is a difference. The tuba wine here is collected straight off the coconut tree, and through the magic of paradise, it comes out already fermented and ready to drink. You know, when you're making wine, you got to set it back, let it ferment. You usually add some yeast. The coconut tree already has a naturally forming yeast. So as it comes out and sits for a day, it's already starting to ferment. You do need to drink it rather soon because it quickly turns into vinegar. If you've ever tried to make your own wine or cider, you'll know that sometimes it goes from drinkable to vinegar pretty quick. And tuba is one of those. It is made all over the world. The Philippines is known for it, but it's also the Spanish took it to Guam, Mexico. It's also in Indonesia, India, parts of West Africa. Any palm tree can make tuba. You take the portion you see where the coconut forms, that little branch the coconuts actually form on, and you bundle it together and cut the end so that it ends up not allowing the coconuts to form. And you hang a bottle, and all that potential coconut drips out into sap, into your collection. Magically, it comes out fermented. It's crazy. They pull it off the tree, pour it into a cup, and you drink it. It is insane. And somehow it works. I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's an amazing thing, but it's already too close to vinegar for me. It's usually kind of thick, a little foamy. Well, maybe fresh from the trees a little much. Maybe they should filter it or something. And they do. Other people, they process it. You can put in bark, depending on where you're from, Barak, Balak. It's got different names. You put in this little reddish bark from a mangrove, and it colors the tuba. You filter it and let it sit for a day or two to get the bubbles out. You can drink it straight from the tree. There's different ways it's processed depending on where you are. Different regions will do it different ways. And if you're just in the mood to pull it from the tree and drink it, it's going to be milky white, kind of foamy. It's a bit thick, but some people still like it, and you can get wasted on it really cheap. So it is the poor man's drink. They do also distill it. And when they go through the actual distillation process, they call it lampinog. And if it's done improperly, like any moonshine, it can be dangerous. We recently had 11 people die, not at my house, but in the Philippines, from improperly distilled lampinog. And if it comes out with too much, is it methanol, I think? I'm not a moonshiner. It can come out poisonous, and it can kill you. So if you're going to drink moonshine, just like in the US, I did drink some moonshine, be careful who you get it from. Make sure you trust them and know their work. Every year you'll hear about somebody dying from bad lampinog. But straight from the tree, it comes out as wine, not going to hurt you. If it's bad, it's just vinegar. So you can drink it and go, eh, and use it to dip your oysters in instead, you know. You'll see it up and down the road here especially. There's a lot of people selling the tuba vinegar. And you'll see it in a jar, and it's filled with different peppers and onions and garlic to spice it up and flavor it. And they pour that and they dip various things in it, fish, whatever they have. We got a friend with a very low tree, so you can see here how it's done. It's kind of neat. This bird was flying around. I tried video, but he was too fast. Had to just get a picture. But he would fly around and dip in there and drink it, because he was been drinking the tuba they were gathering. They said before they found birds that fall into it, they drink it, and they end up I guess, getting drunk and drowning because there'll be dead birds in there. I guess everybody likes to drink. I don't know. Even the birds, they drink that, and they seem real happy after they drink it. Uncle is doing it at our house. We've got a tree out here by our fence. It's a low tree. He's got 2 bottles on it. And I was talking to him about it because you'll see he takes the knife to cut the end off. And he says, you got to do that every couple days because the end of the branch will heal because the tree's trying to heal itself. So you got to keep cutting it off every couple of days to let it keep dripping. You know, it's like a scab. Don't pick it. It'll never heal. Well, you don't want this one to heal, so you pick at it. That's kind of gross. I should edit that out, but I probably won't. But it drips in, fills it. Now, most people I've seen collect it in plastic bottles. Traditionally, it was done in bamboo, and the old bamboo has some of the residue of the yeast of the older batches. So when the new stuff drips in, it starts fermenting faster and better because it already has some of the old yeast in it. Using a plastic jug, that's not going to happen. Everyone I see around here collects it in plastic. They use the old Coke bottle, Sprite bottle, whatever. I haven't seen anybody collecting it in bamboo. Traditionally, that's the way it's supposed to be done, though, they say. I guess Coke bottles are easier because that's what everyone seems to use. I was kind of curious how it gets its fermentation because usually, like I said, I've done apple juice and you have to add a yeast and let it ferment for a couple of months before it's drinkable. And this just has the natural yeast in the air. It's kind of the same way sourdough bread was started. They would mix the flour and water and the natural yeast would get in and start fermenting the dough. If it's done poorly, it's just spoiled. If it's done right, it's good. So if the tuba is done right, it's good tuba. You add the little balak bark into it, and it kind of makes it a reddish color. They flavor it some. I've talked to different people say there's different things they flavor it with, and they all use various Filipino words that I don't know what they are, so I'm not sure what flavorings they use. I've only had tuba a couple times. It was always straight off of the tree. And I don't care much for it the way I've had it prepared. It was a little too thick and almost vinegar. It had the alcohol in it, but it was already, it was kind of stout. Wasn't my favorite. I was hoping I'd like it more. But it is cool watching them do it. They have notches, of course, cut in the sides of the tree. They can climb up to the top of the trees. These short ones probably be more my speed. I can climb a ladder and do it. I'm not climbing the tree. But if you're here any length of time, you'll probably run into tuba. If you're looking for it, you got to ask around. Somebody in the neighborhood probably knows somebody. If you're out in the province, definitely somebody's doing it. In the city, you're going to have to ask around and just know somebody that knows somebody that can get it. Because they don't, it's a little harder to gather in the city unless you've got a coconut tree in your yard. Out here where we are, we're not in the province, but we're farther from the city. So there's coconut trees everywhere. And I've noticed there's half a dozen around here that have the tap on them. And I don't know who's tapped all of them. A couple of them I know, a couple of them I don't. So you just got to see who's climbing the tree to get it. Uncle doesn't drink, so what he's doing is pulling it. He's going to set it back for about a year to let it mellow into vinegar. And then they're going to bottle it and make the spiced vinegar. Depending on what you're eating, that vinegar is kind of good. It's a strong vinegar. It is stout, but you know, eating what is it? The lamperon. It's the round just two flat discs of shell, and there's a chunk of meat in the middle of it. And when you steam it, it pops up when it's done. You eat the little meat, and then the round shell is what they make windows, lampshades, all types of wind chimes. It's a really neat material they use because it's just this round, kind of milky white. It's not see-through, but it lets light in, so it makes for good windows and lampshades. And they're little, just a little thing. They taste just, they're really salty, kind of a clam-ish, oyster-ish thing. But when you steam it, dip it in that little spiced vinegar while you're drinking, it ain't bad. Because we've been sitting around doing tigay and pulatan, and I would eat the lamperon. And you dip it in the Tuba vinegar. It's pretty good. We always joke that, this is, man, out in the yard, all our trees have fruit. We can just walk out and pick up star apples and jackfruit and bananas and coconuts. And if you're thirsty, you just tap the coconut and you get wine. Paradise, right? Everything you need right here, even wine on tap. Can't beat that.
Enjoy your day in paradise.